All right, we got another beautiful weekend here in the DFW. A little bit windy out here today though, so I apologize in advance if this video gets a little bit muffled. But this week I've been thinking a lot about the foot and the ankle. I know I'm still reasonably new to this sports performance ship, but I've been paying very close attention throughout my entire career, and I've always had the assumption that it was something that was, kind of under-addressed or not really prioritized as much as it should be. And now that I'm starting to really get involved with a lot of these kids, I can confirm that, and it's something that's really mind-blowing to me. So with that, with college kids and the pro guys at least kind of getting back into camp, what I wanted to touch on today was what you can do to really preserve and protect the foot and the lower leg. Because listen, man, you don't want to put in all this work and do all these sprints and all these lifts all off season only to show up to camp and then be sidelined with something like plantar fasciitis, turf toe, shin splints. It's something that's very, very compromising, but at the same time very simple to really kind of mitigate that risk or reduce the potential for that injury. The other thing with the feet and the ankles, when we're weak below the knee, everything above the knee becomes a little bit compromised. So if I have weak feet or if I have tight or restricted calves, my hamstrings, my quads, my hip flexors, none of those work how they should. So let's cover a couple of different things that we can do here. Number one, strengthen your feet deliberately and intentionally. I've got plenty of resources on this with more on the way, but really it's just a matter of doing things without shoes on, doing things from different foot positions. The floating heel, the elevated heel position is a really good one to start with. Doing things that are going to demand foot proprioception and compliance, or in other words, getting on turf without your shoes on and just improving the sensory motor response of the feet, and then really working on the compliance factor, or doing things in different directions and challenging your feet with different vectors and different angles. The other side of it is this: most injuries, non-contact soft tissue injuries, occur as a result of rapid changes in demand or volume. So if we think about coming into camp or we think about coming into OTAs, you're coming off of prolonged time where you haven't played the game. You can be training as hard as you want to be training and getting after it, but it still isn't the game. So when you're coming in on these first couple of weeks, be mindful of that. That's where things like shin splints are born from. You haven't had a lot of ground contacts. Now all of a sudden you've got 3-hour practices plus lifts plus runs plus etc. And you're just getting a lot of ground contact and a lot of force down at the foot and the lower leg. So ramp up slow. If your camp starts on Monday, try to get out there ahead of time, even just a couple of days, and go through some light simulations. You want to try to gradually work your way up and give your body an opportunity to accommodate. The second thing, make sure you got good footwear on. I'm not saying everybody's got to go out and buy $200 cleats, but at the same time, make sure that your cleats are fresh, they're fitted, you've gotten comfortable in doing stuff in them. You're not putting on a brand new shoes and just going out and getting to it. Work your way up with those things, make sure that they're laced up properly, and make sure that they're appropriate in terms of the cleat length and everything for the surface or the field type that you're going to be playing on. The last thing is really focusing on how you are recovering in between these bouts of training and practice. You want to make sure that you're doing some soft tissue work. You want to make sure that you're doing some mobilization, but don't just go to practice, go home, and then shut it off. You're going to have to do a little bit more to make sure that you're not getting too much too soon.